This week has been pretty great when it comes to Xbox game announcements, with over 15 games being confirmed to be coming to our Xbox consoles rather soon. Some of these are huge and highly anticipated, so do make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up to date with all things Xbox. Of course, we do have the rumoured Halo announcement coming our way, but until then, let's take a look at the new games coming our way very soon. Out of nowhere, Pacific Drive has finally landed onto our Xbox consoles with the release of their brand new DLC, which is pretty awesome to see. This game is now available as well with Xbox Game Pass for Premium and Ultimate members, and this is one incredible shadow drop that none of us were really expecting. If you remember though, the first game actually launched all the way back in February 2024 for both the PlayStation 5 and PC, and it really came in with an unconventional approach to gameplay where it pits us against supernatural dangers. This is all whilst navigating through the fictitious Olympic exclusion zone of the Pacific Northwest region while keeping your car in a very good state of repair. I will try and get an Xbox review and performance analysis out as soon as possible for this brand new release, but I highly recommend checking it out if you can. Terrors from the Deep aren't too far away at all, as Nacon have finally announced a release date for Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss. The game has now moved from a broad 2026 release window to a date of 16th of April 2026, and it's looking pretty terrifying indeed. If you're not yet clued on what Cthulhu, the Cosmic Abyss is actually about, it's essentially a thriller in which you play as a man named Noah, who's an ancient of Ansil who specializes in occult cases. As you venture out though to the watery depths of the Pacific Ocean, you'll find out there are things men should leave under the sea. You'll be solving different puzzles, fighting off cultists, and then trying to obviously avoid the influence of the almighty Cthulhu. The new trailer that we did receive and what I've actually been showing you on screen right now gave us such a great look at the gameplay, including some massive eerie environments, mad and forgotten people, and some glimpses at the octopus dragon himself. To be honest, it does look pretty insane, and 2026 is definitely looking like a great year again for horror fans so far. I have mentioned Mouse P.I For Hire here on the channel before, and it's one FPS that I can't wait to experience simply because of that incredible art style. From its incredibly detailed old-timey aesthetic to its jazzy soundtrack, there are so many things that stand out about Mouse P.I For Hire. It feels very reminiscent though of Cuphead in some ways, but darker and way grittier. The press release also teased unlockable movement abilities and Metroidvania-inspired level traversal, which to be honest does sound pretty incredible. Well, the game was actually due to launch towards the end of this year, but unfortunately it has now been pushed back to March 19th, 2026, so I'll have to wait a little bit longer for this great looking FPS. Whilst I will still be the first to admit that I am kind of losing track of all these crazy looking action games from both Chinese and Korean studios, that doesn't make Project Tau any less impressive. This newly announced title is currently in development at Madonjin in South Korea. It's basically based around the country's mythology, and it's being described as a AAA single-player action RPG. It is targeting both PC and consoles, but won't arrive unfortunately until sometime in 2027. We did get a lovely new trailer last night though, and it also shows off some frankly stunning environments alongside melee combat against monstrous enemies. Interestingly, this doesn't seem to be your typical action RPG, as you will actually fight alongside a roster of intelligent NPC companions, and it kind of reminds me of the pawn system like we see in Dragon's Dogma. What are your first impressions of Project Tau? Is this going to be one to watch over the next year or so? You'll have to let me know in the comments below. Bethesda Game Studios obviously marked its annual Fallout Day celebration this week with a broadcast that was actually packed with quite a few announcements for franchise enthusiasts, headlined by the upcoming Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. The special release arrives perfectly timed to commemorate the game's 10th anniversary next month, bringing some substantial new content to both longtime fans and also newcomers that are exploring the wasteland for the first time. The Anniversary Edition will pack in an impressive amount of material, featuring 150 pieces of Creation Club content, alongside all of the 6 official expansion packs that have been released since the game launched. It's not exactly the most thrilling of announcements for sure, as I kind of did want to see a new Fallout game, but then again, it's quite a nice update and it will be coming to Xbox Game Pass as well. Bethesda then also announced that Fallout 76 will graduate to current generation hardware with some brand new ports specifically optimized for both the Xbox Series X and S, and is scheduled sometime for early 2026. The move brings the online multiplayer experience to modern consoles with enhancements that take advantage of improved processing power and of course those faster loading times. If you are still using the Xbox One systems, you won't be left behind though, which is quite good to see, as those versions will also receive some great optimization updates for the near future. I do have to note though, but before the next generation ports do finally arrive, Fallout 76 is obviously getting its Burning Springs update on the 2nd of December. This expansion brings an exciting crossover element by incorporating Walton Goggins, who portrayed the Ghoul in the popular Fallout television series. His character will provide players with the opportunities to take on bounty hunter missions, creating a direct connection between the streaming show and obviously the gaming experience. Personally, I was a really big lover of Fallout 76 these days, and I'm excited to dive into it and then watch the TV show when that comes to Amazon shortly after its launch. In a recap video recorded from the Tokyo Game Fest a few weeks back now, Battlestate Games actually spoke about the imminent future of Escape from Tarkov. The game is actually set to hit a 1.0 release on November 15th, dropping on Steam and welcoming an entirely new audience into the scene. Within that summing up video though, they actually dropped a juicy tidbit and confirmed that the console version of Escape from Tarkov is actually being worked on, alongside new games set within that Tarkov universe. It's impossible to say at the moment though as to when Escape from Tarkov will arrive on our consoles, but when it does, I kind of expect a bit of a tamed experience, especially compared to PC. That solely though being in terms of controller support, as obviously it's not as complex as mouse and keyboard. Are you happy with this brand new announcement? I'm surprised so many people never actually covered this, but you have to let me know what your thoughts on it in the comments below. ICARUS, the survival game being made by Dean Hall of DayZ fame, is finally coming to console rather soon, and the Xbox Series version of the game will actually be released sometime in Q1 of 2026. If you're unfamiliar with this one, ICARUS is basically a PvE survival crafting game for up to 8 players, and it was released I think around 4 years ago now on PC, but it did get off to a quite rocky start. But after 3 expansions and many content updates later, it's in a lot better shape, especially for me going by the Steam reviews at the moment. The console ports will be arriving later in the game's lifecycle, meaning that the developer has the benefit of cherry-picking the best editions, and notably, the console version will include the New Frontiers expansion that was released back in 2023. There won't be any crossplay though, which is unfortunate to see, but that's simply because the 2 versions of the game, PC and console, are totally different and therefore incompatible. Still, it's pretty nice to see this announcement, and I'm looking forward to diving into this one myself. This past year has been stacked with fabulous original games across a wide range of different genres, including horror, and this is one that you don't want to miss. Sleep Awake is officially due to hit PC and Xbox Series X and S consoles on the 2nd of December, and this is actually lining up to be a great holiday pick, especially if you're a horror fan. From some research that I've done, Sleep Awake is essentially a first-person narrative-heavy psychedelic horror game that is set in the last known city on Earth that's been ravaged by the Hush, and this is basically a mysterious force that disappears anyone who falls asleep. You must stay alert in that instance and survive the city as its citizens experiment on themselves in increasingly extreme ways, attempting to achieve permanent wakefulness and outmaneuver the Hush. Needless to say, things get pretty weird. I certainly won't be checking this one out as it looks like my version of hell, but then again, I know many of you will probably be interested in this one. The one-person developer at Radiant Games has finally launched Instruments of Destruction, and it's available on Xbox right now, and it is one that you definitely need to check out. This one is an explosives physics playground in which you get to recklessly smash everything up, and according to reviews over on PC, is an absolute gem. To give you some idea of what the game entails though, you're basically a member of Sharp Industries, and you'll be taking control of giant machines built for destruction before laying waste to highly destructible environments across 50 carnage-filled challenges. In total though, there are actually over 130 unique vehicles for you to use, as well as the ability to design your own, which is pretty awesome to see. To be honest, I love seeing the indies flourish, and seeing this highly rated one just come to Xbox is just so bloody wholesome. During the Galaxy's Autumn Showcase that occurred this week, developer Sismo Games made an appearance to present its upcoming horror game named Skinwalker. The game is regarded as an atmospheric title that even offers survival mechanics, and judging by the announcement trailer, we can actually expect a story where players take on the role of a human that can actually change into a bloodthirsty and violent monster, and it does wreak havoc within the world. Skinwalker will eventually launch though onto Xbox, and as of this moment, all we know is that it will debut in 2026 sometime. The game does remind me massively of the game known as Carrion. If you remember, this game was also on Xbox Game Pass, and if it's anything like that indie gem, I have no doubt this will be another indie hit sometime next year. ALKAHEST is a new first-person fantasy action-adventure RPG that bills itself as a spiritual successor to Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, whilst also citing Dishonored and Kingdom Come Deliverance as quite a few of its influences. In this one, you'll engage in close quarters combat, explore realistic medieval locations, learn alchemy, and of course so much more. Perhaps even more interestingly though, ALKAHEST does promise dynamic combat with a focus on interactive environments, meaning you'll be able to build combos and such with both your attacks to the environments. I never even knew this game was even a thing until doing my research for this video, and the fact that it's coming to Xbox consoles is kind of incredible. It's honestly shot to the top of my own personal wish list, especially as I love Kingdom Come Deliverance, and those influences look bloody incredible. There's no release date unfortunately for this one as of yet, but I would hedge my bets towards a 2026 or maybe 2027 release dates. Warhorse Studios has finally announced its third and final story expansion for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and it will release on Xbox on the 11th of November. Given the name Mysteria Ecclesiae, you'll venture to the Sedalites Monastery to investigate a deadly disease. Alongside the new location obviously containing many more new story quests, you'll then encounter different factions within the monastery, all of which have their own secrets, motivations, and of course reasons relating to the overall mystery. You can also look forward to acquiring a brand new outfit, weapons, potions, and books, with the monastery itself actually unlocking a brand new area as you progress. Apparently this could actually be the last DLC we get for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is a mighty shame, so I'm curious, will you be jumping into this final adventure one more time? I will have a review out just before launching this one, so make sure to subscribe down below if you're interested in more Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 content here on the channel. Egging On is a climbing game that's being created by a Poland-based indie studio called Ego Bounds, and it gives me a massive sort of I Am Bread sort of vibe. In this adventure, you take control of an egg. Yes, that's right, an egg. And it doesn't want to be brought into a shop or turned into someone's meal. Instead, it wants to climb to the top of the world, which is a pretty weird story if you think about it. We will of course have to roll and jump in various themed challenging climbing environments and carefully crafted levels, and you have to make sure you don't fall to crack yourself into a slime of yolk. I think the most frustrating bit of this one will of course be the egg physics itself, and as someone who does go for your achievements, you know this is going to be a ridiculous 1000 gamer score. Still, this indie is garnering a pretty sizable audience so far, and it comes out towards the end of this year for both consoles and PC. What game announcements are you looking forward to? And are you tuning into the Halo broadcast a little bit later on today? You'll have to let me know down below. Make sure as well to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe for more Xbox content like this every single day. Whilst here though, why don't you check out the video on screen now, as I managed to cover the huge sale going on within the Xbox store right now.